Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I would like to present to you plum butter cookies. When I was growing up, this is what we used with those specific cookies, plum butter. But I understand not everybody likes plums, so I decided to experiment today and try different flavors. So I will be using raspberry jam and a blueberry jam. The raspberry jam, I'm not sure how it's going to work. There is no fruit in it that I can see. It is just plain jelly. And the blueberry jam, actually, you can see the real blueberries in there, so I think that's going to work fine. With the raspberry, it's more experimental thing. But this specific type of cookies I had when I was a little girl, and it's been a long time since I made it. I always try to go back to when I was growing up and remember what my aunt and my grandma was baking, so I can bring as much of the Polish recipes and memories for me to you guys and present those recipes. My channel is called Polish Inspired Kitchen, which means it's not all Polish food, but again, I want to bring as much Polish recipes as I can. So with those cookies, I use fresh yeast. I know it's hard to get fresh yeast. It was very hard for me. For first 3 years when I moved to Northport, Florida, which is between Sarasota and Fort Myers, I could not get any. So finally there was a Polish grocery store opened last year and they had fresh yeast. So I'm very thankful for it because it does work a little bit better. If you don't have it, the dry yeast you can use. It calls for about 14 grams of it, so 2 packages of that dry yeast. If I wanted to translate the exact name, it would be cat's eye. I don't know why. I mean, it looks like an eye maybe because of the dark part in the cookie for the filling, but other than that, I have no idea. Those are very soft on the inside and crunchy on the outside. I will break one and come closer to show you. I'm doing it very slowly. It is very soft on the inside and the crunch part is on top. Just like when you make your own bread. Bread is crunchy on the outside and should be soft on the inside. And that's how the cookie is. Welcome to my kitchen and thank you for watching. For my cookies today, I will need about 4 cups of all-purpose flour, which is about 500 grams, 5 full tablespoons of sour cream, which is 160 grams, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 50 grams of fresh yeast, and if you don't have fresh yeast, then that would be the same as 2 packets of the dry yeast, 1 whole egg and 4 egg yolks, 2 sticks of butter, and either vanilla sugar or vanilla extract, and a jam of your choice. My fresh yeast, I will need to crumble it really into small pieces, and my sour cream was taken out of the fridge, so it is room temperature. Once I crumble it, I will put my sugar in, and with a spoon I will try to mix it really well. As you know, sugar helps the yeast to get active, and that's what we are doing here. I will add a little bit of that vanilla sugar to it, just for the flavor. And as you crush it all together, you will notice the yeast becomes gooey. So that means the yeast is working. It is changing consistency, almost like a sour cream now. Cover this. I have put half a teaspoon of salt into my flour, and the flour is swift, so it's more fluffy. And now my butter goes in, eggs, and I will put a drizzle of vanilla extract. Not too much, as I have put vanilla sugar in, but I do like the vanilla flavor, so I'll put just a tiny bit more. And my sour cream. Sometimes what I do is put the sugar on top of the yeast and then room temperature sour cream on top to cover my yeast with the sugar, bubbles and foam, and that means that your yeast is ready. So now I'll just mix it all until all the ingredients are incorporated with my spolta, and then the last few minutes I'll just use my hands. Every flour you use is a little bit different. Those are not created equal. Each flour absorbs a little differently. Some flours are lighter, some flours are heavier. So if your dough is too sticky, put about 3 tablespoons more of that flour. If your dough is too hard, then put about 3 tablespoons more of the sour cream, and this should do a trick. Today I'm using a Costco brand, which I've never used before, so I'm curious to see how that flour is. Usually I use either King's Arthur flour or Trader Joe's. It seems pretty nice. It seems like I don't need to do anything more to it. It is very soft, gooey, but not too sticky. Like when I touch it, it doesn't leave anything on my hands. And this is how you want your dough to be. When you roll it out later, of course, you will need some flour to put on your board so it doesn't stick to it. But this is the right consistency for that particular dough for your cookies. I will work with half of the dough and then the other half, because I won't be able to roll it all here on the board. It's not going to fit. And 2 other things I need is melted butter. It's not melted yet. I will melt it. And some thick sugar. Once I roll my dough and cut the circles for the cookies, I will put a little bit of that butter on the edges and then dip it in that sugar. And then my jam goes in. Those extra things you will need on your hands when preparing those cookies. Usually, whatever cake or cookies I make with yeast, fresh yeast, dry yeast, I usually cover the dough and wait for it to double in size. Well, those cookies don't need that. Right away, when I'm done with mixing all the ingredients, I can roll the dough out and cut my circles and start making cookies. And the thickness of my cookies that I need to cut out about 2 centimeters, I would say an inch. I actually saw this on Amazon and it's pretty helpful because you can change those attachments here and then it tells you how thick your dough will be. So if somebody wants help with rolling and not worrying if your dough is even everywhere on each side, this is a great tool to have. I'm so glad I bought it. Now time to roll my dough. And the rest will go back to my bowl so I can roll it again. And now I'll just use my husband's shot glass to create a dent. And that's where my plum butter will go in. The melted butter goes around. And I'm going to dip my cookie into that sugar. And as you noticed, I did not put much sugar into the dough itself because of the sugar I'm putting in right now and jam that will go in the middle of that cookie. And jam is also sweet. Okay, so that will be the last piece that I have to roll. Okay, my shot glass. I used to collect shot glasses or cups whenever I travel, but now I don't have any space since I'm baking. All the trays and all kinds of flowers and things that I need. No space for that. And my sugar. And now my plum butter to go in the middle here. Once I am done with putting that plum butter on my cookies, I will actually leave them to rest for like 10-15 minutes. So I want them to be more airy. Okay, time for the other one, and I will use the raspberry jam. Cover the other ones. Blueberry is my favorite, absolutely favorite jam. Too much. And what? I forgot about my blueberry jam. Ah, I was going too fast and I put raspberry everywhere, but I actually do want to try the blueberry. And this is the one I'm talking about, the blueberry preserves from Aldi. It's organic and it's my favorite flavor. And you can actually see pieces of the blueberries in there. Probably hard to see over the camera. It's like, why wait for next time if I can try the blueberries today? So now that I have it all completed and ready, I can preheat my oven to 350, and it will take about 6 minutes or so for my oven to be ready. Cookies can go in. And my oven is ready, so I will put my cookies in. There is one thing I would like to mention. Every oven has couple racks, and you can lower the racks or make them higher. My oven doesn't distribute the heat exactly the same everywhere. When I bake breads, my rack has to be in the middle. When I make cookies like that, my rack has to be on a higher position. So you have to know your oven to best accommodate for whatever you're baking in there. I will set my alarm for about 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes I will check if my cookies are changing color to very light brownish. And this is where I'm going to decide if my cookies need additional few minutes of baking or they done. So it's more about you looking with your eyes and deciding if the color is right to know the exact time you need it for baking those cookies, but it should be 18 minutes. Alarm? Okay, I'll see you soon. Whew, such a beautiful brown color. I will come closer with my camera so I can show you exactly how they should look like. So I have checked after 15 minutes and waited another minute. So for me, it was exactly 16 minutes before I took them out. Well, I've got my coffee. Gotta wait about 10 minutes so they cool off and I can enjoy my cookie with afternoon coffee. Those cookies I have always made with the plum butter. That's traditional Polish way. Today, I experimented with raspberry and blueberry jam. So the blueberry jam turned out really, really good. The raspberry was kind of on the runny side, but there is powdered sugar that can fix all the imperfections. So for those raspberries, and I will show you in a little bit, just get my sugar handy. Okay, I hope you can see better. See the brownish color? It's not burnt anywhere. It is just very light brown, and that's how you know your cookie is ready to take out. Plum butter looks great. The blueberries look pretty good. The raspberry jam, a little bit on the runny side. But again, nothing that powdered sugar cannot fix. They will still taste delicious. And if you wanted your cookies to be thinner, you don't care about the crust as much of the thickness, but you rather enjoy the flavor that's inside, you can make them a little bit thinner. Just remember when you put them in the oven, check them instead of 15 minutes timer, 12 minutes. Because if they are thinner, the amount of baking is not going to be the same. So that's the only difference. Get my coffee, my cookie. Soon I can get the kids from school. I'll be ready. It is so soft. So soft. Fresh is best. What can I say? The ones you buy in the store last for a week. The ones you make in your home using the right ingredients, they're much more healthy for you, but they don't last as long because they don't have the preservatives and all the chemicals and everything else the manufacturers put in cookies. This, I can eat 3 and not feel guilty. The ones from store, they would give me a stomachache. So bake, eat, enjoy, be happy. Cheers. Thank you again.
I would like to let you know why I am a big fan of using scale instead of the cups. I do put measurements in cups so it's easier. As you know, I'm from Europe, so everything for me is in grams. And here in United States, any recipes you have is usually in cups. But I want you to pay attention to one thing, so take it as a tip. I learned by mistakes because I've done it before. So I have put together a flour, the same flour, all-purpose flour, into the same measuring cups. Exactly 2 cups in here and exactly 2 cups in here. But I want to measure it using the scale and show you if there is a difference and how much of a difference it can be. So here is the first 2 cups of flour, as you can see, 2 cups. And here is exactly 2 cups. All around, no cheating. And I will turn on, and there's nothing here. My scale, so it's set to 0. Maybe I should show you. So it's set to 0. If you can see. Okay, and I will put the first 2 cups in. And it says it is 248 grams. So now I will take this into a different cup, and it's empty. Put it back. It comes back to 0. And now the other 2 cups. All of it. And this one is 314. So now you can see that 2 cups are not created equal, right? They do not measure on a scale the same. So why is that? Well, it's all about handling the flour. If we are gentle with it, the flour is fluffy, it's light, and then 2 cups, nice fluffy flour. If you handle the flour, shake it, kind of bang it, on the surface somewhere, it loses its volume because it becomes dense. So you keep adding to have exactly 2 cups, right? Well, but it's much more heavier. It's much more flour that you need. So if you ever had a cake and you tried to follow the measurements and directions and the cake wasn't quite the way you hoped, it wasn't as fluffy, it wasn't as delicate, it wasn't as soft, well, maybe because there was too much flour. So it's just a tip, and I hope you will find it helpful to kind of pay attention to how we handle flours. I know how it is when you bake something and you put your heart into it, time into it, and then it doesn't come out the way you hope for. And it's frustrating. So I hope this helps. Thank you for watching.